So in this case, we're actually doing a made from scratch stuffing recipe that is one of my favorites. Growing up, I didn't like, you can only fit so much on a plate at Thanksgiving, and stuffing is one of the things I would leave off. And in this recipe, it's just totally different from anything I've ever had, and I love it. And I got to give credit to my mother-in-law for giving us the recipe and letting us do this video. So it was her recipe, and it's just awesome. So we'll get started here. What I've got, we're going to cook in the enamel Dutch oven, Big Green Egg enamel Dutch oven, the big oval one today. The real cool feature with that is you've got the Dutch oven, the bottom part that we're eventually going to bake this, but the lid is also a cooking device. So what we're going to start with is we've got some extra sage sausage here. Going to break this up a little bit. We've got our egg at about 400 degrees, just direct right over starting out that way, and then we're going to turn it into an oven and bake it for the finished product. But we're just going to get started on the sausage here. And then we'll just take a look at the ingredients I've got that are ready to go for this recipe. Got 2 sticks of butter that we'll get to. We've got fresh rosemary and thyme. I've got sage. Oh, sorry. Fresh sage and thyme. We've got so many herbs going on for a meal like this, you forget. Diced onions, celery, and then water chestnuts. This one I think blows people away when they try it. It gives that crunchiness to it. We've got our chicken stock that's going to go in. And then this process here. So we have cornbread, we have white bread, we have pumpernickel. You can, the best way to do this is you just cube it up like so, and it takes about 3 to 4 days. Just leave it out on the counter. It's really hard to stay out of it because it's delicious. So I always grab a little snack, so maybe have some extras. So that's been sitting out for about 4 days, and you've basically got croutons. So good. We did bake the cornbread on the egg, of course. Bought the bread. Cube that up. If you don't plan ahead of time, the other option you have is you could always throw this in the egg, and you can dry it out that way and just basically toast it. Okay, so our extra sage sausage is now finished, so we're going to remove this for the time being. Okay, we'll set that out of the way. And we're going to get started on the rest of the ingredients. So I'm going to put in 2 sticks of butter. Let that melt. And we're going to add our diced onions. And our celery. Okay, you can see the onions and celery. That's looking really good. We'll let that go for just another minute. I'm going to go ahead and add the sausage that we cooked. I put all the bread. Again, we had white bread, cornbread, and pumpernickel that you leave out on the counter, let it dry out, cube it, and then leave it out to dry for at least 3 days. They get good and crunchy like croutons. You can toast them if you forget to do that ahead of time. Okay, so onions and celery are looking pretty good. And now we're going to go ahead and add our water chestnuts, full can of water chestnuts. And now we're going to add our fresh herb, fresh sage and thyme. I said rosemary earlier, so scratch that. Cook this a little bit, add a little bit of kosher salt. It definitely smells like Thanksgiving. We'll let that cook for just a minute. Definitely want to use gloves for this because that's hot, obviously, and you need a place to go with it. Matter of fact, before I do that, I'm going to set this up. Since we're going to bake this recipe 350 degrees, I want to turn the big green egg into an oven. Which is extremely easy to do, especially when it's already hot. We've got our 2 half moons. If you're not familiar with the egg expander system, you can use the convector as well, but in this case, I've got the 2 half moons, so we're gonna turn that into indirect heat. And that will probably actually get us, with all that heat, will get us close to the 350. So we'll let that start preheating. We're gonna dump all this in. Got all of our breadcrumbs and sausage. Okay, and again, that is the lid to this, which we're going to use here in just a minute. And now I'm just going to start stirring this to blend all this together. Okay, now we're going to add, I think I accidentally said chicken stock earlier. Of course, we're going to use turkey stock. It's Thanksgiving, right? So. Okay, so we're going to start adding some of this and stirring. It's kind of a feel thing. Okay, so that's ready to go. I'm going to put the lid, which is probably still hot. We cooked the first 45 minutes covered at 350 degrees. As you can see there, well, we actually cooked all that butter and everything. Snapped right on top. And that's actually the lid. So we're going to go covered for the first 45 minutes. And then we go about another 30 minutes. It's going to be hot on that. And we'll show the finished product here. So we're got our egg set up indirect now as an oven. Put that right in place. And we'll come back and take the lid off here in about 45 minutes. Okay, so obviously we're losing daylight quite a bit sooner nowadays. Stuffing has been on. We did 45 minutes with the top off. I'm sorry, top on, and then we took the top off and did another 15 or 20 minutes. We'll take a look. If you don't have one of these, the grill light, the big green egg is pretty cool. You've actually got this this mounts to the screw that goes on the outside of the egg, and that's magnetic. So you just store this wherever you need to store it, put it in place, turn it on or off whenever you want to use it, but just so you can kind of see our finished product with the sage sausage stuffing. It's gonna be a hot bite, but I gotta do it. So good. You get the sausage in there, you get all that herb, the butter, and then the crunch from the water chestnuts.